Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. In today's episode, we have a very special guest. We have current professional hockey goaltender with the Fayetteville Marksmen in the SPHL, Brandon Perrone. Brandon spent this past season in the SPHL with the Fayetteville Marksmen just after his college career came to a close with playing with NCAA's Division I, Long Island University for the past 4 years. And before that, he spent another year playing his first year in University of Alaska Anchorage in NCAA Division III or Division I. And then before that, he spent time in the North American Hockey League in the NA3 AHL, and then before that, 16U and 14U and youth hockey over in New York. So like I'm really excited to get you on, Brand. Like this has been an episode I've been really excited for because I love what you do with your Instagram pages and your content there, and how like especially like the Mindset Monday tips and everything, like it really like helped me dive into like the mental side of things. So I'm really excited to get everything going with that. So welcome to the show, Brand Perrone.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Definitely dive into some stuff and hopefully help some people out with my experiences and yours. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love it. And like that's what this podcast is all about, just helping others, like having a good conversation with a lot of elite players, elite athletes around hockey, around other sports. Like I'm super excited to get everyone on to listen to this episode and have everyone learn from you.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. But like how's the off season been for you? It's only like a month into the off season. Like we still have like 2.5, 3 months left before the season starts. So how's your off season going?
Yeah, definitely. I think with it's a little bit different now with kind of my business and being able to do lessons and stuff. So keeps me a lot more busy. I used to work at the course. Now I just kind of live the ideal life. I give lessons in the morning and then I'll catch up on some work stuff and then I'll usually go play some golf and then I'll do work in the afternoon and then work at night and then come home and do it again. Obviously I make time to work out and everything like that, but I've been really enjoying the off season. It's very different knowing that like the start is in October compared to that August. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a weird feeling. I'm sure when September comes around, a lot of the pro guys say it's a very different feeling. So that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, you're really living the life right now, and with golfing, and then your company as well. And I want to talk about that for a little bit. Like you have Between the Pipes hockey. So like what and you're training goalies, like you guys have players as well. So like what was the start behind Between the Pipes hockey, and like where is that now?
Yeah, definitely. So I honestly got into it because of my mom. I was kind of just home and Benoit Hogue, he used to play for the Islanders. He kind of reached out to me randomly one day just to help out with the Long Island Rebels. They needed a goalie coach to help out. And I kind of took him up on that opportunity, opened the door there. Then my mom was like, why don't you start to get into coaching? You never really had someone, for me as my family, we never really like knew what was going on like with junior hockey and stuff like when I was 15, I thought I played juniors for the Royals, and I thought the only league for juniors was the USHL or the league I was in. Like I didn't know any better. So, like my mom was like, "Why don't you get in and really help people that need the help and people like us and understand it?" And I was all in for it. And yeah, I just fell in love with coaching. I actually had a parent the other day say to me, they're like, "I think you have more fun than my kid out there." So I have a lot of fun on the ice and like I said, I just look at myself as what I was growing up and how important having like role models like and for me, DiPietro is a huge role model growing up and like every little thing he did, I wanted to do. And any kind of gestures he did that always struck me and inspired me. So for me, it's having that opportunity to help these kids and reach their goals is honestly very satisfying.
Yeah, that's awesome, and like it's such a great thing to get into because like I'm in the coaching aspect of it too, like especially in the summers and during the season. Like you learn so much just from coaching the kids, and like you see it differently like when you're actually like coaching the goalies, and like you could put that into like some of your training as well. So like coaching like goes hand in hand with just your training as well as just making the other younger goalies and like the goalie you train like better.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the biggest thing, honestly. And I would tell my coach Brett that at LIU all the time is that like I've learned so much about goaltending from learning myself. It's actually funny. Growing up, I never had a goalie coach in my life. My dad never let me have one. Like I just never like the way I learned was going on YouTube or watching the Islanders goalies, like I said, DiPietro, and I just everything he did, I did. That's how I learned. And I didn't get my first goalie coach, Bozak, till I was I want to say it was my last year of junior, so I was like 19. That was the first time I ever had someone. Besides that, it was just me like learning it on my own and watching YouTube stuff. So to really like dive into the game and really learn, I mean, you see, and then even just shooting on the goalies, you kind of see like what's open, what's not open, like especially the older guys. You just learn so much. It's
Yeah.
you learn something new every day, and everyone, like you said, everyone has a different style that even the younger kids like mental tips and everything like that. I've learned so much from them. So it goes hand in hand for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's super fun just training the goalies as well. And like that's crazy that you didn't have a goalie coach until you're 19, and like I was the same way. Like I didn't have my first until I was 19 as well. And like you just there's so many different resources out there with YouTube, with Instagram now, with social media stuff like that. That like you could literally do stuff and learn different drills, like what to do literally in your fingertips. Like there's no reason that you can't learn something new every day.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even the stuff like you said, like on Instagram, like if people aren't able to afford lessons or anything like that, like if you're willing to learn, you could learn. Like there's so
Yeah.
much out there, and that's honestly why I do the Instagram and everything is just being able to reach all different types of people of just like you said, just scrolling on Instagram. Maybe I post a video that gets 100 views, but one kid changes and gets inspired from it. That's the whole reason you do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I love like the mental mindset Mondays that you post. So like what really like I know you're big into like the mental game and the mindset side of things. Like what it's like how important it is to have a strong mindset as a goaltender, especially when you have so much stress, so much outside stuff going on as a goalie and even in life, and just to have like that mental toughness to overcome it.
Yeah, I mean, I could honestly go on for hours about this, so you might have to stop me. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me that I've learned about it is like going through juniors, like, you have such anxiety, especially for me, like when I was playing, kind of my last 2 years of juniors. I guess I'll start like my second to last year in the NA. I finished like a 926 save percentage, top in the league, and everyone around me was committed Division 1 or even drafted, and I was the only one that wasn't committed and wasn't really talking to any school. So like the pressure was on, and that was my goal from when I was younger was to play Division 1. And your family puts so much in, I put so much pressure on myself, and it just kind of snowball effect of like all anxiety and performance. Like I was in the game and I was getting shots and I was looking up at the scoreboard to make sure I got the shot on net because I was so worried about my stats, and it was just a terrible mindset that I was in. I was so worried about the future and what it could hold instead of living in the moment. So for me, I got a sports psychologist, and my journey is kind of understanding that it's okay to have anxiety and not like, kind of at that time it was a lot different than it is today. Is like, if you have like, anxiety and all of that stuff, that it's a weakness, whereas that's kind of what I thought. So I always kind of kept it in and never like searched for help and just figured it was just me and that's it. And there's so many people and so many athletes that come out, and like, I mean, I'm a big fan of golf. Like you look at like Wyndham Clark, like his jump up in the leaderboards is all because of meeting with a sports psychologist. So I think you're just learning that it's okay to have anxiety and be nervous, and how to deal with these things is what really separates the best. Because the people that can admit it and learn from it are really the people that could grow the most. And honestly, it's helped me in everyday life too, not just hockey. And that's, yeah, I guess I don't want to go too much of rambling on it.
So like what's like your mindset like routine like before you prep for like the game and everything, like before you hop on the ice, like what's your mindset routine to help yourself get to that area where you're not as stressed but like you're also able to perform at your best?
Yeah, so honestly, a big thing that I actually just made a post about it this Monday, but like a big thing I think that is like a common mistake people make, and even myself, especially in juniors, and I'm not like a guru at this. I'm still learning and still struggle with stuff, but like is like only doing it on game days. I feel like you have to do stuff every single day, especially the mindset,
Yeah.
because if you only do it for that time in front of the game, right, you're still gonna have the anxiety. You got to be able to do it when you're calm. That way you've been through it. So, but just to talk about game days is like for me, I found I listen to like I want to say like say we got to be at the game at like 5:30 or something, like the game's at 7 or whatever. I'm not the best at that stuff. But kind of when I get there, I'll go through like change into my workout stuff. And then the first thing I'll do is I listen to a 10-minute anxiety meditation. I could send it to you if you want, but
Yeah.
I sit down and I put the Normatex on. I know maybe not everyone could get the Normatex, but just laying down and I put a blanket on my head, put my headphones in, and I just for that 10 minutes is all I focus on is my breathing, and it's a guided meditation. And my sports psychologist actually at the time recommended it to me, and it was just about like, the big thing for me was letting go of whatever happens. Like, you're gonna have the fear of getting pulled, right? Or like,
Yeah.
you could have a bad game. It's just whatever happens to accept that outcome. Personally, for me, helped me with my anxiety not having it. Like, you're gonna get pulled, you're gonna have bad games. To know that it's okay and that it's gonna happen, it's part of the game, is just really helpful for me. And to just make sure we can control the controllables is the big thing that is for me in the mindset, is that like my attitude and my effort are the two things that I focus on. No matter if I get a shutout or like I said, if I get pulled, like I can only control my attitude and effort. You can't control bad bounces, bad breaks, maybe even just not your best game, or maybe your team, you have a really good game and three of the goals going off your defenseman, right? Like you can't control that. So for me, just staying in the moment and just focusing on the attitude and effort and just staying in the present moment, like the easiest thing to do that I'm still working on is as soon as you give up two quick goals, right? Is like you easily think ahead to the future of like, oh no, it's not my game, is like being able to stay that present moment, next shot mentality.
Yeah, and like those are like I like how you said like stay in the present moment and then like control what you can, like your attitude, like how you prepare, like that your preparation, stuff like that, and like your effort that you're putting into it, everything as well as, and then like stay in the present moment, like because like that's difficult, especially like when like you just said like you give up two quick ones and you're already thinking, oh, I could get pulled, but just to be able to stay in the present and not let it get to you, like that's gonna help you be successful and stay in games instead of getting pulled right after.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and that's the mindset of like the growth mindset that I've kind of adapted, is like when I first started in juniors, like I said, like all of that anxiety and stuff. Like if I gave up a couple quick goals, it was my stats are terrible. Like I
Yeah.
need to turn this game around or I'm gonna get pulled. Whereas now, like I look at it as a process, not the result. And that like if I give up two goals in my first game at Fayetteville next year, like now for me, my mindset is a challenge of how can I bounce back from this? Like, can I prove to myself that I could bounce back when I'm not feeling my best, when I have anxiety and all that stuff going on, and not worry about the future, the result. And if I get pulled, I get pulled. But at least I know I had that mindset of,
Yeah.
I'm going to give it my all, and whatever happens, happens, has been really effective for me. And I mean, it's easier said than done, right? Like, I'm not saying
Exactly.
I don't go back to the old habits, but it's being able to, you're always going to have those thoughts. It's always just being able to counteract them is really important.
Yeah, that's huge, and like that's like some of the things that I've learned like this off season too with training and everything is just like I've been like journaling and stuff like that, and, like actually like visualizing stuff, like because like especially like when you get scored on in practice, like especially like when it's not your day, you're like you just get really like pissed off at yourself and everything like that. But it's like with the journaling and everything, like I was able to like really like dial it down where it's like I'd rather get scored on 100 times in June than a game seven in overtime in a playoff game. Like I'd rather have everything go in now than when the season comes and stuff goes. Like I'd rather be stopping everything compared to letting those pucks in.
Yeah, 100%. And it's all, I mean, that's a huge thing of, I like what you said there. And that's what separates people to go the next level, is like the attention to details. Like I tell my goalies this all the time. Like, for example, I said it to, I worked with the kid Robbie this morning, and it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, does anybody in the world care or know that I just scored on you, right? Like
Yeah.
no one cares, and you're going to get scored on. Like, let's do it the right way so we could be process oriented, so that we could get better and better, compared to just worried about, don't be so result driven, right? We're trying to work on something, right? if you make 100 glove saves, but you don't track it in, you're not getting better compared to if you get scored on 95 times, but you track it in, that's going to build to bigger success. So I'm huge about that.
Yeah, and like I'm just trying to like do everything with like with intention. Like there's no like off reps because like when you do like half-ass reps and off reps, like that's when you start to build bad habits and everything. And then once you get into the season, you have those bad habits engraved and you're already in. What do you think it's gonna happen? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in the game. It's gonna happen in practice. Like just having intention with every single thing, every single rep. Doesn't have to be like 10, 15 reps, like 6, 8 reps a drill. Like nothing hard, and just to be able to like stay focused and stay in the moment and not get like not be so gassed where you're like, oh, like I'm creating lazy habits now.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you said that too. That's another good point. You're ripping them off a lot of good points, but like I say that to my students. I promise I'm not stealing your ideas, but like that's really the difference I see with like elite goalies and regular goalies is like people don't realize that not that you don't want to work hard, but you need to work smarter. Where
Yeah.
as like I'm a big believer in you could do a drill 5 times, but make it 5 game like reps and everything attention details there instead of wasting 15 reps for your gas just going through the motions. Because people live in the world where they think if I did 15 reps of something, they think they got better. Compared to if you do 5 game like one and your mindset's in it and everything's game like, that's what you're gonna get better from. Not doing 15 half-ass ones like you said.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a big thing to learn, but like once you like actually like learn that and really engrave it into your system and into your practices and your games, like it becomes like second nature and you're not going through the motions like you said.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah, but the next part, like I want so you went from the NA3HL to the North American Hockey League throughout your junior hockey career, but you started in the Met JHL. So like take us through your junior career a little bit here and like how you went from going to the Met J to the NA3 and then finally getting your shot in the NAHL.
Yeah, definitely. I think like I said, it was a long time ago now, so I might I might forget a little bit. But yeah, so when I was 15 at the time and I had a chance to play 16U and my dad was a big believer in me too that why would I play 16U when I could play against 21-year-olds and really challenge myself. So like I said, we didn't know much and I joined the Met JHL at the time with the Royals, and it was kind of, if I had a good year that like, maybe I'd get drafted in the USHL. Like I said, at that time, I only thought it was the Met JHL and the USHL. Like I didn't know anything better, and I ended up having an amazing first year. Like I couldn't have had a better first year. I ended up winning Met JHL goalie of the year and then I won Met JHL first team, and we had a really good team, and I had a lot of close friends, and it was a really good experience. And then from there, I thought I was king of the world, like thought I was going to the USHL, like no questions asked. And then yeah, I ended up going to the NA3, so didn't know much about it, just knew it was kind of like a feeder league to the NAHL, which obviously, like I said, that's why I do this is I was still learning about it, and I took a belief of faith on myself for me, it was always I always thought if you moved away from home, that meant you were really good at hockey. So the first opportunity I got, me and a couple of my buddies from the team from the Med JHL, we all moved to Texas and played in the same team. So I had a really good year there, and I learned a lot about myself. Honestly, it was like a lot of hardship and being away from home. I was only 16. I learned a lot about myself, just living on your own and really growing up. So that was a really good experience. And then that following year, um, I tried out for I tried out for the Lone Star Brahmas. This is like my favorite story of, people, never giving up. So I tried out for the Lone Star Brahmas. That was like the feeder team. And
Yeah.
then ended up making the NA3 team that year. Then the next year, my goal was obviously to make the Lone Star team. Didn't make it, ended up going home. They didn't want me. Then I went to the Titans in the NAHL and I went to their main camp. Didn't even make the final All-Star game. So like I know main camps like say you start with 8 teams. Well, I actually went to the pre-draft, and then got invited to the main camp from that. Went to the main camp, didn't get invited, didn't make it to the final All-Star game. So like went home, And then the Long Island Royals had like the NA3. I don't even know what the heck it's called. It's not even a league anymore. And I was like, I'll just play at home. And, I really want to be back home with my family and figure out what I'm going to do. So I ended up playing there like month into the season. The Titans called me. I think one of the goalies got called up to the USHL and ended up going there. They were playing against the first place team, the Johnstown Tomahawks. And I ended up playing 2 games in a row, and we won both games. And ever since that, I ended up staying up there. And yeah, it just was like a really cool story of like never giving up as like a team. I didn't make the final All-Star camp. Like, most kids would be like, oh, screw this team, or like, I don't want to, upset with the situation or whatever. But I went back home, just went to work, and got lucky with an opportunity and took advantage of it. I think that's something really important. But back to go to the Brahmas is I actually ended up that following year, we ended up playing them at the showcase, and I played that game and we won 1-0 in a shootout. So that was always one of my cool stories for me because like, got to play at a team that you wanted to be on and ended up, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I honestly, juniors was such a good experience for me. I had so many good coaches, and especially my coaches in New Jersey with Craig and Bobby. They were amazing. I mean, I'm so close to them to this day, and they've helped me so much of just being a leader, honestly, and just being more than just a hockey player. Like teaching me how to be a human being and culture and everything. I'm just honestly, those guys are so good to me. I miss them a lot. So that was kind of my junior experience, I would say. I was very fortunate. It was crazy, but I wouldn't change it for sure.
Yeah, that's a great story, and especially like a never giving up story. Like you get cut from the NAHL, and then you end up going back to the NAHL after one of their goalies got called up. So like it just makes it seem like it just makes it where it's like you never know when that opportunity is going to come. So you just got to stay ready and keep working hard, keep training, keep practicing, like no matter what level you're at, because you never know when that opportunity at the next level is going to come up.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say honestly, my biggest advice, like looking back, if I had any regrets, is like I kind of stated before, of just being able to stay in the moment
Yeah.
more. Like, I mean, I'm sure my coaches in New Jersey know, like I was always so stressed about like, my goal is to play Division 1, and just always I put so much pressure on myself to do that. Like, which is a good thing because, you want to have that pressure because you want to be
Yeah.
there. But also at the same time, I put too much pressure on myself, and honestly not staying in the moment and comparing myself to other people. I just kind of always got caught in the rabbit hole of this goalie committed, like, then you start looking at your stats. You're like, what the heck? How'd this guy commit? Like, and I just was always so worried about what other people were doing that I never really focused on myself.
Yeah, that's a big thing to learn and everything like that. Like just to be able to stay in the moment, like not compare, because like I see it all the time where like I've had the I've done the same thing where it's like you're comparing yourself to other players, and it's like no one has the same path or anything like that. So like
Exactly.
just to be able to compare like how guys are doing and where guys are going, like it stresses you out more than anything, where you should just be focusing on your game, your path, and what's going to help you move forward.
Yeah. And I think like honestly the saying like everything happens for a reason, like
Yeah.
couldn't be more true. I mean, you truly never know what's going to happen. And there really is, if you have a good like growth mindset, there always is a reasoning, no matter if you get cut from a team, bad games or anything. Like if you could put a positive, like, I mean, I'm probably the most positive person. Everyone gets annoyed at me for it. I'm always smiling, very positive, but that's just my personality. And I mean, luckily, like that's how my mom is. And just being able to be like that is just going to help you so much. Because if you can find a positive in everything, you'll find your way out of anything.
Yeah, especially like getting cut from a team, like it sucks at first, but if you find a positive and like a blessing in disguise, like it's gonna help you because you're really gonna work even harder than you were before, and you never know when like we just said, that opportunity could come up at any given time. But if you quit, like you're never gonna know what's gonna happen with that. But if you keep going, keep working hard, like you said, like everything happens for a reason, and an opportunity will eventually show up, especially if you keep showing up.
Yeah, definitely. And even to add to that is just you got to have that belief and like find a support system in you. Like
Yeah.
even to just, I mean, I'm just thinking of it of like, you can never lose belief in yourself. No matter what happens, you always got to believe that you're the best goalie in the world. But I mean, you don't have to come out here and say it, but deep down, you got to really believe that if you ever want to have a chance, and you can never lose that. And that And that's kind of a good lesson I learned from like kind of my dad is when I was in Texas. I was actually at the NA3HL showcase and I kind of was struggling with confidence a lot. And I'll never forget, we sat in the car and we just listened to like these, it's like today is the day and like believe in yourself, like motivational like speeches. And it was like something that really, stuck out to me is just like, you really can never lose that because if you lose that faith in yourself, you're kind of always going to be wandering.
Yeah, and like if you don't believe in yourself, your teammates, your coaches, your management, no one's gonna believe in you. And but if you really full on believe in yourself, like that's it radiates off you, and like everyone will know that you're confident that you're able to win games for your team.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. But like I like how you said like the with the support system and everything. Like I remember watching watching your reel of like what's your why, and like you said like to your family and like your close friends that really have been there for you and everything. So like you really just got to find that why in that support group, and why you're continuing to get better every day when even when things don't go right, like just have that motivation to get up and go work out, go skate, get better, like whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I think that was because, like I said, that was like where the pressure came from for me is like because you want to make all those people proud. And once you
Yeah.
realize that they don't care if you play hockey or don't play hockey, like they're just there supporting you, then they're along for the journey is only going to help you. Because, like I said, it takes a village to make it to high places. Like it's very rare for someone to do it without any help. So to make sure you have those people that you could trust and honestly surrounding yourself with people that want to better themselves and a good friendships and everything like that. You got to be very particular who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, exactly. I love that and couldn't agree more. You just got to find those people that's going to help you and really believe in you and support you no matter what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, but after your junior career comes to a close, you go on to play NCAA Division One college hockey, which that was a big goal of you, and you played at Alaska Anchorage for a season. So like what was the process like to commit there and then going over all the way to Alaska?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll actually never forget. I was actually in Moe's with my best friend Zach. We were in Moe's and I got a call from Alaska, and it was actually like very late in the season. We were in playoffs, so it was literally right when I was about to age out. And yeah, I just got the opportunity, and I've always bet on myself my entire life, and that's what I did again. I had a talk with my family, and it's just anywhere I've ever been, I've never been handed anything in my life. I've always earned it. I've always started in third in college. I started as a third goalie. In juniors, I started in the worst league. Like whatever you can name it, I always started at the bottom, like the Drake song. But like I always had to earn it. And for me, that was the same thing in college. I started off as a third goalie at UAA, took a chance and bet on myself, and then just worked, and then finally found an opportunity. But yeah, Alaska was awesome. It was a crazy. We got to play there. Uh, LIU. We got to play there, and bittersweet. I was like 10, I think I was like 40 seconds away from a shutout against UAA this year at LIU. And it was like questionable goal interference, but we were up 2-0 with 40 seconds and we couldn't challenge it. I was pretty upset that we didn't challenge it because I don't think it would have counted. But yeah, I was them and Lone Star. I'm pretty good at playing against my old teams. But yeah, so that was a pretty cool experience at UAA. It was very different. I loved it. And being able to go back there this year was just something I've always like every year LIU with UAA being there, I've really hoped we got the opportunity to play there. So being able to play there was really, really cool for me.
Yeah, especially when you're playing against your old teams, like it gives you more motivation to just be on your best game. And it's crazy how things work out when you do play your team and you get wins over your team that you played for the year before.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a pretty crazy experience to transition from UAA to LIU. I mean, I remember UAA folded and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And then LIU announced that they were going to be a team. And I called my dad and I was like, I mean, this is bad because I'm from Long Island, but I was like, what is LIU? Where is that? Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm so bad at directions. He's like, how do you not know Long Island University is? I was like, all right, well, we didn't even know who the coach was. And I said, that's where I'm going to play. And for me, luckily I got the opportunity from Brett, and I mean, it was an awesome experience being able to play in my hometown. Just It was so cool. I couldn't, if you'd have told me when I started playing hockey that I had a chance to play Division 1 at home with my family living here, I mean, it gives me a chill still thinking about it.
Yeah, but like when you were still at UAA, you played 8 games. Like, what was it like getting into your first 8 games of action in Division 1, which you've dreamed of since you were a kid?
Yeah, I'll never forget my first game. I actually had PD was our goalie coach. He he's the UAF's assistant coach now, and I didn't play at all first semester, so I was the third goalie all first semester, and that was the longest I've ever gone in my life without playing. So that was a big hardship for me of understanding and trying to figure everything out. And he was by my side the whole time, like that support system. Like every single day, I stayed out with him. We worked hard, we do video. When the team went on road trips, I didn't travel. It was just me and him and maybe a couple other scratches. We do extra skating, everything. Like he pushed me to where I never thought I could be, and that's what made me honestly realize how important a goalie coach can be to reach your potential. I mean, I owe so much to him. He believed in me and gave me that opportunity. And then, yeah, we actually beat my first game was against Alabama Huntsville. We beat them on a Friday, so I thought there was like no chance I was gonna play. Then all of a sudden they call me in. I was like, oh, what did I do wrong? And he's like, yeah, you're playing tomorrow. And I was like, oh shoot. So I ended up playing, and then we won in overtime, and then I ended up playing a bunch of games down the stretch. So it was a really good experience. And again, for me, it was like something I'm used to is having nothing handed to me, and then when I get that opportunity, being able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, especially going in as a third string and then working your way up, like working your way behind the scenes when guys are on road trips, stuff like that. You're still skating extra just to get better and just help yourself develop as well. And then you get those 8 games, like especially as a third goalie, like that's huge just to be able to get settled into Division 1 hockey while just being the third string.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where you learn so much about your mindset. And,
Yeah.
it's so easy to be like, at LIU, like when I was, the starter playing a bunch of games, like it's very easy to get in a good rhythm and a good mindset because things are going good for you.
Yeah.
But like when you're the third goalie, it's so easy to question yourself. Like, am I good enough? Am I, and I think that was the mental battles that I had that helped me, that I knew I was good enough to be a Division 1 starter. And I never, lost that faith. And having PD there, my family, I knew once I got my opportunity, I would take advantage of it. But I think that's where a lot of people fall in the mindset of, labeling it in the sense of that you are the third goalie, so you act like the third goalie. And I think that goes back to what I said of like having that mindset that you're the best goalie in the world. Like, when you have to, you're obviously good to your goalie partners and supporting them, but you have to have your belief you're the best guy on that team. And once you get your opportunity, you gotta honestly stick it to the coaches in a sense to prove them. Like that was kind of my chip on my shoulder is like when I got that opportunity, I was going to show them why I should have been playing that whole time.
Yeah, that's huge. And like I was in the same situation. Like I was third string in the Fed this year for a long time, and like just could be the first goalie on the ice. Like, and like I don't take any off reps. Like every rep is my game. So like I got to be on top of my game every single rep. Like you weren't like half assing any reps. Like it was full on reps, and then like you just then like I think I built like my mental strength as well, my mental toughness with that because like obviously you're not getting games or anything like that, and you're just practicing, which could be a lot, but like it's a blessing in disguise because you got to practice, you guys develop, and like I found that I'm 10 times better as a goalie than I was right now than I was at the start of the year.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm such a big believer that you need to have that adversity happen to learn about
Yeah.
yourself. Like, I truly believe, I mean, there are people obviously that get things not handed, but it's an easier road. But I truly think like the guys that come out from that could gain the confidence and be what they want to be have to go through those hardships because that's when you find the most. Like I said, when you struggle, like that's when you're going to find out who you really are, not when you're playing your best hockey. Everyone can be confident and cocky when they're playing their best hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so after your year at University of Alaska Anchorage, you then transferred and went to Long Island University, like you've been saying, like you said, for the last 4 years before joining in the SPHL. It's like and like it's close to it's in your hometown as well. So like that was huge, and be able to like have like friends and family there. So like, what was your time at Long Island University like?
Yeah, like I said before, it's something when I talk about it still chokes me up because
Yeah,
I never even thought it was a realistic possibility. To always want to play D1, and it was always so cool to see people play at their hometown. Like we had Tanner Shackle was on Alaska Anchorage with me, and I always used to say to him how cool it was that he gets to play at his hometown in Alaska. So to be able to, and it was funny is that he ended up coming to LIU. So I would always say, who would have thought that now I always used to say that to you, that now you're back in my hometown playing. But yeah, it was an amazing experience at LIU, and it was kind of that same thing that I talked about at UAA, where it's kind of nothing was given to me. I had to earn everything, especially at LAU. I didn't play much at all. And the biggest learning curve and mental, toughness thing I had was probably I didn't play at all. So my last game at UAA was against Mankato in the playoffs. So he skipped that entire year because of COVID. So didn't play a game for a year. Then that following year comes up again, and I had to probably have not played a game. And like I said, I played all the time in like juniors and stuff, so I'm not used to not playing for such a long
yeah,
time. So skip the COVID year, then you go into my junior year now. So it's been about a year and a half, and I didn't play probably till the end of the first semester was the first Division 1 game I played, and it was against Quinnipiac, the number 1 team on the road. And I got pulled, got absolutely. I played like I probably got to like the middle of the second period. I gave up 5 goals, and then I didn't play again. Didn't get another. I got in from like just playing in games like goalies getting pulled or just that way. I didn't get
yeah.
another Division 1 start for a long time. So you got to think it's been probably so it's a year and a half. Played against Quinnipiac, number 1 in Quinnipiac, like super nervous. Get shelled for 5, then don't play again. So now it's talking about like probably like 2.5 years of like not being able to play a Division 1 start, and then I finally got a start against Brown, and then I we won that game, and then I started playing ever since that, and then played a lot of games my senior year, then my grad year. So it was a big learning experience for me, and I mean I can know as a goalie like that was probably one of the toughest things I could ever do is
Yeah.
sitting on that feeling of playing against Quinnipiac and then, not going as I planned and, envisioned, and then just not being able to bounce back and just kind of always having that in the back of your head. And, like we said, you can't label yourself, but then you start to, the realistic of like kind of questioning myself, like, am I still good enough? I haven't played enough games. Like, why am I not playing? Like, and you just kind of go down that rabbit hole, or you could kind of say like, okay, that's an opportunity that slipped by, but this next one won't. And it just kind of fueled me in the summers and everything to get that next opportunity that I wasn't going to let it slip by. And yeah, then I just ended up playing a bunch of games down the stretch. And then, yeah, it was a really good experience at LAU. I mean, I'm pretty sure I hold the record for most wins. And then, most importantly, though, I had the most assists as a goalie.
There
That's
we
one
go.
that matters the most to me. But
You're a
yeah, it was a really good
playmaking goaltender.
experience. Yeah, I do have a lot of assists. I played even in the SB. I think I played like 5 games. I had 2 or 3 assists. I like to play the puck a lot, and depending on who the coach is, that goes really well or really bad. So
Just depends on who you got.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, like in Jersey, my coach was running guns, so he absolutely loved it. We had some set plays of just me getting the puck and throwing it up. At LIU, we're a little bit more defensive, but my coach Brett, he let me when I had the right time to go for it. I did some crazy stuff with it, but that was part of my game, so I had to stay true to myself, and that's what was a differentiating factor for me. But yeah, it was a really good experience there, and I made so many good friends that I still am really good friends with today. And to be able to watch these guys coming up this year, that I've been able to play 3 years with, that'll be seniors and all those other guys. I mean, they're going to be a very good team. They got a really good leader in John Gormley there. So I'm excited to see what they do. And we had a really good leader, and I'll give him a shout out to Jack. Jack Quinn was awesome and helped set the foundation there. So I'm really excited to be able to watch those games and see what those guys do. I'll definitely be rooting them on a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially like what you've learned and like how like the program has been built up and everything since you first got there. And like so like what has it been like seeing it start from scratch and then to where it's at now, and it's a blossoming program in Division One.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, I must say. So we started I went in half semester my sophomore year. I didn't play any games, but I went in halfway through my sophomore year. So like the COVID year happened. I started my sophomore year at Anchorage and then we folded. And then I second semester transferred to LIU. I didn't play at all, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I didn't know anyone going in second semester, and we're in like this, it's called Iceworks, a really, really cold locker room. And I wasn't even in the locker room like with the guys. Like it was like this really small locker room, and I was in like the other room. I didn't know anyone. Like it was a crazy experience, like going from what we had now. Then, the next year, each year, I mean, Brett did a great job of like every year we got a little bit, and we had really good ADs. Like we just got a little bit better each year as a team,
Yeah.
especially, but like just things we would get like the next year we moved to Northwell, which is where the Islanders practice. So that was a cool experience. But like one of my best friends, Nolan Welsh, we were sharing a stall together. So like now I got a stall, I'm in the locker room, but I'm sharing a stall with him. So like, I'm very neat and Nolan was a mess. So that was annoying. But besides that, it was a cool experience. But yeah, then this past year we got brand new locker room, beautiful locker room at Northwell. Like we were in a cafeteria the second year that I was talking about that I was there. Then now like we had our own stalls, all this apparel and everything. Like, I mean, it's so cool to see, like you said, be somewhere where you could be from the
Yeah.
ground up. Like I said, to start a program at LIU and then be a part of that is something that I'll never forget. And like, hopefully in 50 years from now, hopefully I'm still alive, but I can look back and be proud of being part of like the founding fathers, as they call it, of that school.
Yeah, just keep growing, and it's gonna keep going, keep getting bigger and bigger, and getting the facilities, getting the like teams just gonna keep growing, like everything's gonna keep going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean for sure. And like just even the play wise of like our team, like we've gotten so much better. And like when we used to play like our first year we play like Ohio State or something, like we get killed. And like now it was like when we play, we beat Ohio State. When we play these teams, it's anyone could win. Like
Yeah.
for example, like Quinnipiac, that second year that I played, like we got killed, and then the following year we tied them 2-1, and then we lost. We tied them 2-2 at their home rink, and then the following year, this year, we lost 3-2. Like we were right there, and that's why like I'm excited to see what they do this year because they're a team that's literally right there, and a couple bounces and maybe some big saves at big times, and they'll be
Yeah.
able to maybe able to get through the hurdle.
Oh yeah, there we go. Gotta overcome the hurdle, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. I will say it is pretty cool, like to see that. That's what makes hockey Division One so special. Is when we play a team like Wisconsin and go there, and not that LIU can never get there, but the facilities we have doesn't compare to what Wisconsin has. But like through our game plan and everything we do, we're able to compete and be able to play against these guys and beat these guys. And they have everything you could ever ask for. Not that LIU won't get to that point, but that's what makes it so special. And that we were like the hard-nosed, gritty team that earned everything, and that fits me as a person.
Yeah, exactly. It's just gonna continue to grow and grow. Well, then, like you ended your senior year this year, and then you went straight into the SPHL with the Fayetteville Marksmen. So, like, what was the process like to find Fayetteville and find the SP?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I knew Ryan Crothers. I was a coach in the Fayetteville. I knew him from New Jersey. He came in for when I was on the Titans, and he's just a hockey guru. Like he's so smart. Like, when he talks, you listen, and he's very run and gun like my coach was Craig in New Jersey. And I love that. Like, I mean, it's not maybe not the most best for your stats. I could
Yeah,
confirm that, but I like to play that style. It's a lot of fun, and I love to play the puck, so I'm able to like keep plays going, and they love when I do it. So the run and gun style suits me. It might not be best for my stats, but it's a lot of fun. So I definitely want, if I was gonna play in the SP, I wanted to play for him and a couple of my really good friends, Matt Arujo, Tyler Barrow, that I played my first year juniors. They were there, so it was just a good fit all around. And Yeah, it worked out well. I would say like from the playing experience, I mean, it was definitely very different. Like just how everything's treated. Like going from LIU, we were very strict on like meetings, shirts tucked in, all of that. And then you go to Fayetteville and it's kind of like, you can do whatever you want. Like as long as you're performing, you're good to go. Like you just
Yeah.
got to be at the rink. You got to warm up on your own. Like at LIU, we would have meetings and then we would have we'd warm up as a team. Like everyone had to be there, everything had to be the same, and it was just so different. So it was different to get used to, but it was a lot more relaxed, and you could kind of find what works best for you. That's what I liked. And then playing was very different because we actually played ASU my last weekend. I played both games, and like I said, I play the puck so much. And I didn't realize that I didn't put two and two together that the trapezoid is in pro hockey. So my first game, it was 0-0 in Peoria, and I got a puck, or we might have been winning 1-0, but I got a puck on the power play. I went behind the net and I made like a sit like forechecker was coming. I threw him with like a little pump fake. I had the confidence going, like spinorama, nice pass. Ref blows the whistle. I'm like, oh, we took a too many men penalty. And then I'm like, so confused what happened. And then one of my buddies comes up. He's like, dude, you gotta stay in the trap zone. I'm like, oh, dude. I completely forgot that was a thing. Like I was just playing in ASU 5 days ago, and now I'm
Yeah.
in Peoria, and so that was a pretty good wake up call. And Ryan, my coach, and everyone had a good laugh with that. But that was a good experience of a wake up call of pro hockey for me.
At least the confidence was high with that pass.
Yeah, no, I made it. I mean, till this day, when he showed it in video and everything, and I still to this day will claim. I mean, it was a nice move. I mean, if I was in a trap zone or not, I made a great play.
Hey, you learn some, you learn, and then you're like, oh, I gotta stay in the trap and outside the trapezoid now.
I'll tell you what, every puck that was dumped in from that, I had to triple check to make sure that I was not going in the trapezoid because I was so used to going over all the other places.
I would have been like, oh, you guys can take it. I'm not risking it anymore.
Yeah, no, I build I cross the line every time I play, so I get a little crazy with it.
Yeah, but you played 5 games in Fayetteville in the SB this past season. So like, what was it like getting that first professional start and like actually like realizing like a dream, like you had the Division 1 dream and now you're playing professionally.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. I mean, it happens so fast. I mean, life just goes by so fast. So
Yeah.
for being able to play pro hockey was awesome. I mean, me, Zach, and then my teammate Adam as well. We had to drive up together to North Carolina. Then we had or no, we flew to I don't even know. We drove to North Carolina and then flew and met the team and then had to Uber from the airport like to meet them in Peoria. Like it was a lot we had to do and I remember my coach Ryan at the time. He asked me, he's like, "Do you need a game?" Like this was Friday. He's like, "Do you want a game to see what it's like?" And I was like, "No, like I'm good." Like just having that confidence that I mean, we ended up losing. Maybe I should have took the game, but I played really well. But just having that confidence in myself that not making it bigger than it has to be, right? Like I think
Yeah.
that's where I've always got caught up. Like how I said I had to earn everything. I always looked up to these people like playing like Division 1. Like you're, oh, this guy's Division 1, and you kind of make them better than they are. But you earned and I earned to be there. So for me, it was just having that confidence and not making it bigger than it was really important. And then playing at home was awesome. The fans were really cool. That was something I've never experienced of having such a strong. I've had passionate fan bases like LIU, New Jersey, but not like as many people as it was in Fayetteville. Like having a sold out crowd, like we had like 9,000 fans in the first game that I won. Like that was a really cool experience that I'll never forget.
Yeah, well, what was that first win feeling like and just finally realizing the that you just got your first pro win?
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I think I was more excited I had to assist that game too. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was a nice feeling. I mean, especially I came to Fayetteville and I believe it like we were on like a 12 game losing streak. So it probably wasn't the best time to go to the team. Like tensions were high, a lot of roster moves, like a lot going on. But being able to go on like a little winning streak there was really awesome and a good experience for me too.
Yeah, so like through you go into the SB into your first pro year, like what were some of the biggest things that you learned besides staying out of the trapezoid?
I would say just being a pro, and that I kind of mentioned and touched on it earlier, of just that working hard, not working harder, working smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
All right. But I think that's something I learned just getting older, and like especially at LIU, playing the most games I've played in college. Is just maintaining my body in sense of like not, when I was a freshman, I'd stay out before practice, after practice. Anybody wanted shots, I was there. Whereas my grad year, like as soon as practice was done, like if I needed to do any extra work, I would. If not, I was right off the ice, and then
yeah,
I was going to do recovery, ride the bike, stretching. And I found that same thing with pro, like finding what works for your body, not being on the ice for me, honestly made me feel more fresh, and skating less, but making those reps, like we talked about, matter. Like if we
yeah,
skated for 45 minutes, that was more than enough for me to be able to feel good and confident because I took every rep like it mattered. Whereas when I was a freshman, I would take 1,000 shots and just go through the motions thinking I worked hard, but
yeah.
I was kind of gassed and not paying attention to the little details that I worked on now. So I think just being a pro and learning how you take care of your body and the travel and eating the right stuff and all of that is just so important.
Yeah, that's huge that you learn that, and like especially going into like your first full pro season, like you know what to expect now, and you know what's going to happen. You're a professional, like you learned how to be a pro. It's like how excited are you going into next year with Fayetteville, hopefully, and just be in your first full pro season of professional hockey.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for me, I got my feet wet. Like I know what to expect, and it's just all just building off of it. I felt like I had maybe stats wise, like I said, wasn't the best, but I felt like I played very good hockey and I learned a lot. And just the same thing in juniors and everything. And I think the biggest thing is to just focus on yourself. Like
Yeah,
you can't worry about if they bring in other goalies. You're gonna go through rough patches. It's a long year, and just being able to focus on what I can control. Like that's the biggest thing that I want to be able to focus on. It's something I work on every day, is just having that mindset of just focus on myself. Obviously, I focus on the team and want them to win, but just focusing my energy on the positives in myself, in a sense of not getting caught up in all the other stuff that goes on, like, pro hockey, people getting released,
yeah.
the anxiety, stress, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that it'll hopefully be a good year for you, and like you said, you got your feet wet, so you know what to expect, and like I'm sure you'll put up a good season in Fayetteville or wherever you are.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, but I have one more question for you, and like obviously like throughout like the season you have ups and downs, like you have good games, bad games. Like how do you overcome like those obstacles of having bad games and like having like the low points of the season while also trying to balance like not get too high and not get too low?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And we touched on it a little bit with everything, but just kind of having, I don't want to like repeat myself, but like having that like next shot mentality.
Yeah,
It just no matter if you make the best save or you get scored on, just focusing on the next shot. And I think that example that I used, the Quinnipiac, for me was the biggest experience I've ever had of, getting pulled and then not playing a game, like playing one game in maybe 2.5 years of hockey, or 2 years, maybe I'm
yeah,
exaggerating, felt like a long time, but not being able to play and just having that thought in my head of all the time of using that as motivation was something that really helped me. Like mental toughness is like, at first it was kind of like, oh, am I nervous? Am I good enough? Blah, blah, blah. Then just using that as, I knew that that moment, for whatever reason, God or whatever, wanted to test my mental resilience and teach me a lesson of being able to stick through it through thick and thin. And like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world, because I learned so much about myself not being
yeah,
able to play for that long on a negative thing, right? It's easy if I got a shutout against Quinnipiac and then I went beauty mode for 2 years, like I'd be riding my high. I'd have so much confidence. But having the other thing is having the negative is way harder to deal with, and having that motivation to not have that feeling again, or if it does, I could always learn from it. And then that's something that I would say is the biggest thing, is that you really do learn the most from your losses and your negative stuff and everything like that. It's so easy when it goes well, you get a shutout. Like you don't look at all the negative stuff you
yeah,
do, but when you have a bad game or something, you could really learn the most about yourself, of how you were feeling and what you could really work on. And that's something I truly enjoy the most. Is not that I want to have bad games and the negatives, but I truly enjoy learning, because I have the mindset of, if I could just get 1% better, whether it's coaching, teaching, anything like that, no matter what happens, it's gonna over a year, 2 years, 3 years, if I keep doing this, it's just gonna make me better than everyone else.
Yeah, you just gotta have belief in yourself, like always have that confidence that what you're doing with training and what you're doing on the ice is gonna help and gonna lead you to success. And like the biggest thing is just believing in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will.
Yeah, definitely. And I think having that mindset for me is like that belief in yourself, but always having that belief in a sense that someone's always outworking you
Yeah.
is something that really motivated me in juniors and everything is like no matter how hard you think you worked, and going back to not contradicting myself, I'm working smarter, but to always have that mindset that someone's working harder, right? You could still work hard without putting your body through stuff. You could do mental stuff, you could do stretching, like there's stuff you could do to work hard and not be so taxing on your body. So I think that's something really important too.
Yeah, that's super important, like huge to learn. I'm glad that you were able to come on the podcast and share your story, share all these tips and advice. So, Brandon, I want to thank you for being able to come on, and I really appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck going forward with next season.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I love what you're doing. And if anybody has any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or anything like that. I'm truly here to help. And I know you are as well. That's why we're doing this. So
Yeah,
thanks again for having me on.
yeah, exactly. What for those that don't know, like your Instagrams, like what's your handles?
That's a good question. No, I got it. It's between on Instagram and TikTok, it's between the pipes hockey. And then yeah, then my name is obviously Brandon Perrone. I think my Instagram's Brandon underscore Perrone. But yeah, if you want to follow, we do a lot of really cool. We try and post every day and just try and grow the hockey community. And we don't only do goalies, we have a great player staff and everything as well. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, that's perfect, and we'll definitely plug all that in the bio, and we'll definitely get it out.
Awesome.